I want you to take a look and tell me if you think these ladies here look far right to you. This is today outside the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf. We had protesters bust in secretly at about 1:30 a.m. night before last. They thought we wouldn't notice, but of course we did. We've got the whole thing on video, and you can take a look at that in the previous video posted on this channel where I interviewed Chris Cork. But we've got a bunch of ladies who are just worried for the safety of their daughters. I think you can tell here there's quite a lot of, say, mother-aged women. Probably most of them have got kids and are worried about their safety. Would you say that they are far right? Let's take a look at another clip of these ladies today who have been out peacefully protesting, I think doing a fantastic job, all dressed in pink. And they've got this sign saying, "We're not far right, but we're not far wrong. Don't gamble with our lives. Stop the boats." Singing very merrily. Everyone seems to be in good spirits. Makes a difference to one of the last big Epping protests where it was absolutely chucking it down with rain and people were just troopering on, getting drowned to death. Actually decent weather today. All this footage is from Jack Hadfield on X. He's been down there getting some footage. As you can see, everyone in good spirits, but it did start to kick off a little bit. Let's take a look at what's going on here. So you can see some smoke. So let's see what's going on here. So we've got some people in masks, and what they've got is they've got these canisters of the red and white paint stuff, or whatever you want to call it, and they brought that stuff down. They've got England flags wrapped around them, and the police were not too happy about that. They're all masked up. I do think even if you've just got a bit of fun paint, if you turn up in a bunch of masks, you look like you're someone who's going to cause trouble and who's going to start a riot, so don't be surprised if the police get involved. And I think you can assume, right, that if someone turns up masked and their face covered, it often suggests that they are there to stoke up some sort of violence, some sort of disorder, right, as opposed to peacefully protesting. So you would have thought that these were the Antifa lot, but actually, no, they weren't Antifa. Apparently, there's been a lot of misunderstanding on Twitter about this, but Jack Hadfield, who's taken this footage, he's clarified that, as you can hear there in the crowd, people are cheering some of these people, and they're not Antifa, apparently, according to Jack. He said once the masks were taken off, because the police, after they were spraying their paint around, allowed some of these guys to actually join the peaceful protest as long as they took their masks off. And he said when he saw some of the masks being taken off, that he actually recognised a bunch of these people from one of the previous protests that he went to, and these guys were, on the anti-migrant side. So, interesting. It looked like it was all going to kick off, but the police did make some arrests after these guys started spraying that paint stuff or whatever you call it around, and then apparently they de-arrested some people, and then, as I say, told some of them, you can join the protest if you're going to behave yourself and you're going to take your mask off. So getting a little bit aggy here, chanting at the police, because the police were trying to keep them separated. I think the police initially thought maybe they were Antifa, and so wanted to barricade this lot from the ladies we've seen protesting. Looks like they're trying to breach those fences. These fences have been put up around the hotel to try and protect the migrants that are staying there from any sort of protest. And apparently the migrants have been coming out freely in and out throughout the day. And apparently every time a migrant steps out the hotel, they get booed by the crowd. So there's quite an audience there for anyone that wants to come in and out. I mean, I think it's mad that we have people staying in these hotels actually allowed to leave the hotels, to be honest. I think if you're a man who's turned up in this country and you haven't been vetted yet, you haven't had your asylum application assessed, You should be bound to the hotel, and that's not cruel. Hotels are lovely places to be. They've got these buffets on for them. That hotel has got a swimming pool and a jacuzzi. I have checked it up online. I've had a look and can confirm that is the case. They'd have an absolutely fine time there. They'll be absolutely fine, so they don't need to come in and out. We shouldn't have them roaming the streets. Absolutely unacceptable. Now, that's just because I said there is this, and people are going to be talking about this. I've already seen people tweeting saying, oh, look, the Antifa thugs turned up. But Jack Hadfield has said the police quickly made multiple arrests of the masked men at the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf. Independent journalists, including Wesley Winter and He Speaks Freely, questioned the speed of the reaction compared to arrests made against Antifa yesterday at Thistle City. At least 2 of the men have since been de-arrested and allowed to join the protest without masks. To clarify, these were not Antifa. After masks were removed, I recognised a few of the men from the previous protests here and were cheered by the protesters when they arrived. So there we go. Apparently it wasn't Antifa. And to be honest, I actually believe that it wasn't Antifa, because I think if it was Antifa, they would have been a heck of a lot more aggressive than simply getting a few canisters of this whatever paint smoke that you call it, right? So I think it would have got a lot nastier if the real Antifa in their masks had shown up. I don't know why those guys decided to turn up in those masks. I think that was silly. I think that means people are likely to think that you're A, Antifa, and B, there to start some sort of riot rather than to protest peacefully. So I do think that was silly of them, but overall it looks like things have stayed pretty civil, and those ladies that were there clearly, let's go back to those ladies. I think they put on a brilliant show of how to protest peacefully, showing we deserve this right to protest because we can do it properly, we can do it without a riot, we can do it whilst behaving ourselves. There were a few scuffles with the police, so the police were asking these ladies to get out on the road and they said no, why should we, because you let Just Stop Oil do it. But yeah, all in all, it looks like a fairly relaxed protest, but we'll see what happens in other protests that undoubtedly will be going on across the country over the coming days and weeks. But I think it is really, really important, if we don't want the right to protest taken away from us, that you can put on an example like these ladies here. Anyway, that is the latest with the Britannia Hotel. The migrants have only just moved in. They've already got a huge protest to greet them outside. I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon.